Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel, Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, and the upcoming Lauren Frey. So, after 100% completing Donkey Kong Country 2, I immediately popped in Donkey Kong Country 3 and began playing that again. I had been playing it casually, like while I was playing Donkey Kong Country 2, and I kind of was having positive thoughts on it. I was kind of thinking this game does have a lot of redeeming qualities. Some of these gimmicks are actually pretty cool. There are some gorgeous backdrops. There's some pretty interesting music, like some of the character designs are colorful. Like they did something a little bit different with the boss fights. Like there are positive qualities to Donkey Kong Country 3, and I think that says a lot about like where Nintendo and Rareware were at the time, in which they could pump out a game completely different from the previous one in like less than a year and still have it be reasonably high quality. And I say reasonably because although there are a lot of things I like about Donkey Kong Country 3, there are a lot of things I don't like. There are a lot of things that irk me, and I do think a lot of it is like the lack of polish, or the too many gimmicks. Like this game doesn't feel all that well put together at all. It's like they had a bunch of ideas left over from previous Donkey Kong Country games, and they were just like, okay, let's use them all in this one final game, and never work on this series again. So what do you get? You get tunnels with anti-gravity. You get like people shooting at you from the foreground. You have areas that reverse your controls. You have like a bobsled. You have like a mountain climbing level where you climb up burning ropes. Like there are a lot of levels that work really, really well that I really, really like, but there are also ones that are kind of boring. Like there's one near the end where you're jumping on these guys who just have shields. Like, what? That's your level? You're just jumping on guys who have shields, and they just kind of rotate, like kind of like if you're aiming in a 2D shooter. Like it's weird. Like it's such an uninspired level idea, and it's such a shame too, because there are a lot of these gimmicks do actually work, but they are bogged down by these moments where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? There's one stage where like you have to swim through this maze, and you have this fish following you. It's like a barracuda, and in order to prevent the barracuda from like eating you, you have to like keep making it run into fish. So you have to like go out of your way to get the thing to run into fish, and like it's not all that fun. It's not interesting. Like sometimes he completely disappears and then immediately like comes back to harass you. It's not a well thought out level at all. Like it's not interesting. The gimmick isn't fun. Like I don't think I would ever replay it unless it's for 100% completion. Like the boss fights. Like the boss fights are kind of a mixed bag in a way, because like I kind of appreciate the fact that they're so different from what we've seen in the past. Like there's one with like where there's a boss behind the waterfall that just kind of like shoots water at you, and you just kind of have to like balance platforming with like shooting its eyes and stuff like that. It's an interesting idea. I like the aesthetic of like the waterfall. It feels like a more natural location for a monkey to like battle some giant animal or something than anything we've seen up to this point. But the boss itself is just boring. It's easy to do once you figure out the pattern. Like it's anticlimactic. Like remember when you beat like a boss in 2, and then like it had some crazy like death animation, like a skeever kind of exploded into sparks and just spirals off. You have like the crow just fucking dies. Like K. Rool gets blasted up his tower. Like there's none of that in this. And like weirdly, when you get to the final boss in this game, well at least the first final boss, not the true one, like you have this weird dialogue with like this crocodile who's apparently not K. Rool. I don't know what the plot of this game is because I didn't check, but I don't know. It just feels kind of awkward and just quirky and just doesn't feel like Donkey Kong Country. It really doesn't in a lot of ways. And I think it is safe to say this is by far the worst in the trilogy. I don't want to call it bad because I'm such a big fan of the franchise. I put up with a lot of like the weaker aspects of this one in order to finish it. But like overall, I don't think it's all that strong of a title. It wouldn't really be all that well regarded if it wasn't like such attached to such a strong pedigree, like the Donkey Kong Country series, like legit, like the other games. Literally all of them, the first Donkey Kong Country, 2, Returns, and Tropical Freeze, are legit like probably 4 of the best platformers ever made. And this one is just kind of mediocre. I don't want to call it good or bad. It's just kind of, it's playable, it's functional, but there are moments where you're just like, what were they thinking with this? What were they trying to accomplish? It feels like a really half-assed game, like especially for the time with Rareware pumping out working on games like GoldenEye would come out the following year, like Banjo-Kazooie would come out after that, Donkey Kong 64 after that. Like honestly, I would almost feel like Donkey Kong 64 is more of a proper successor to DKC than this is. Like it feels more like, yeah, like it manages like to handle the cartoony aspect way better than this one does. Like I love the character animations in DK64. I love the boss fights. I love the areas. I love the music. Like DKC3 really has none of that. Like there are occasional moments where you feel like, yeah, these people were kind of talented. Like look at this gorgeous mountain backdrop or this underwater area. Like there are moments where you're interested when you're into it, when you really start to feel like, yeah, they really put together something. They really had something here, but then there are also moments where you feel like, yeah, they kind of fucked it up at the same time. They could have done so much better. Like if this was a good game, like if this was on par with the first two, like I don't think anyone would dispute the Donkey Kong Country trilogy as being the single best trilogy of platformers in history. Like with Super Mario Bros. 2, the original NES Super Mario Bros. Trilogy probably being the only competition, right? Like if they had just nailed it, if they had just done it exactly right, they could have had something truly great.